Hey Goblin, you've been really practicing those war drums.
I'll bring the generic goblin noise!
Hey gang, using the promo code MTGMudsta, all caps, will get you 10% off any order over $10 at Flipside Gaming. It'll also get you 10% off any orders of singles at Multizone. And it'll get you 10% off most products at Original Magic Art, with the exceptions of some paintings. If these fine sites don't have what you're looking for, you can also consider using my affiliate link when ordering from TCG Player. And if you'd like to join the Generic Goblin Gang to support this channel, there's a link to my Patreon in the description below. Alright my gentle viewers, we've got a game from Wizard's Tower this time, with some new friends, some old friends, and some awesome decks. First up, new to the channel, is Eric playing his Varina deck, keeping an Unraveling Mummy, an Island, Silumgar's Command, Thought Vessel, Cryptbreaker, and Tainted Field. Aiden is back playing his Chulane deck, keeping Eternal Witness, Devoted Druid, Intruder Alarm, 2 Forests, and Azorius Chancery. Sam is playing Muldrotha, keeping a Command Tower, Field of Ruins, Ghost Quarter, Elves of Deep Shadow, Pernicious Deed, and Oracle of Moldiah. Also new to the channel is Matt playing Noyan Dar, keeping a Scalding Tarn, a Reliquary Tower, a Darksteel Citadel, a Command Tower, a Soul Ring, and Enlightened Tutor. Eric wins the die roll and starts us off. Eric plays a Flooded Strand. Coincidentally, Aiden also plays a Flooded Strand as well. Matt plays a Command Tower and casts Soul Ring. At the end of turn, Eric loses 1 as he sacrifices his Flooded Strand to find a land. Sam plays a Command Tower and casts Elves of Deep Shadow. At the end of turn, Aiden sacrifices his Flooded Strand to find a land as well. Eric plays an Island and casts Thought Vessel. Aiden plays a Forest and casts Devoted Druid. Matt plays Enlightened Tutor to go and find a Rhystic Study on his upkeep. He draws it, and then plays a Scalding Tarn, cracking it, and announcing he'll find a Shockland, taking a total of 3. He shortcuts, casting the study, and then goes to find his land. Sam plays a Ghost Quarter and hits Aiden for 1. Eric plays his Tainted Plains and passes. Aiden taps 3 and casts an Eternal Witness. He doesn't pay the 1 though, letting Matt draw, and returns to his hand Flooded Strand, and then plays it again. He passes turn. Matt plays a Darksteel Citadel, and taps it for an Expedition map. He then plays out Tomic, and passes. At the end of turn, Aiden loses another 1 as he sacrifices his fetch land to find a land. Sam plays a Field of Ruins, and loses 1 to cast Oracle of Moldiah. He can't pay the 1 for the study tax though, and Matt draws. Sam then plays a tapped Hinterland Harbor, and reveals a Field of the Dead off the top of his library. Eric plays a Swamp, and Matt sacrifices his map to find a land, and Eric then passes. Aiden draws, and waits for Matt to reveal a land. We see a Cascading Cataracts, and then Aiden taps out all of his mana, untaps his Devoted Druid by putting a -1/-1 counter onto it, and taps it again to cast Chulane. Matt gets to draw from the study trigger since Aiden can't pay the 1, and Aiden then plays an Azorius Chancery. Moving to combat, the Witness hits Sam for 2. Matt plays a Sea of Clouds and pays 2 for a Merchant Scroll. It resolves, and he goes to find and puts to hand a Pull from Tomorrow before passing turn. Sam draws and plays a Swamp off the top of his library. He then plays a tap Field of the Dead and pays for the study trigger as he casts Plaguecrafter. Eric responds to this by casting Silumgar's Command, but is unable to pay for the study tax, and Matt draws. Eric picks to bounce the study, and gives the Oracle of Moldiah -3/-3. The Plaguecrafter then enters, and the table either sacrifices a creature, or in Eric's case, discards a card. Sam then passes. Eric pays 2 for Demir's Signet, and then casts his Risen Executioner from the yard that he discarded earlier. He then passes turn. Aiden casts Burgeoning in his main phase, and plays a Forest. He goes at Matt with Chulane, and then passes. At the end of turn, Matt casts Pull from Tomorrow where X is 2, drawing 2, and then discarding a Keteric Leviathan. For Matt's turn, he plays a Misty Rainforest, and Aiden gets to put out a Forest. Matt then recasts the study, and then plays Giver of Ruins, followed by a Mother of Ruins. Sam takes another 1 from his elves as he casts Pernicious Deed, paying the extra 1 for study. Matt responds to this by sacrificing his Misty Rainforest, losing 1 to find an island, and counters it with Swan Song. Sam then passes. Eric draws and goes to combat. He swings the Executioner at Aiden for 4, who takes the hit. In his post-combat main phase, Eric then casts Wayward Servant, paying the 1 for the study, and then an Unraveling Mummy. With the Mummy entering, it triggers the Wayward Servant, causing Eric's opponents to lose 1 while he gains 1. At the end of turn, Aiden activates Chulane to return the Witness to his hand. Aiden plays an Ancient Ziggurat for his land for turn, and uses Beast Within on the study. He doesn't pay the 1, and Matt draws. The study then gets destroyed, and Matt gains a 3/3 Beast. Aiden then recasts his Eternal Witness, and returns to his hand Devoted Druid. We then see Green Sun Zenith where X is 0 to find a Dryad Arbor, and he passes turn. Matt plays a Reliquary Tower, and brings in Noyan Dar in his main phase before passing to Sam. Sam draws, and plays his commander as well. Muldrotha resolves, and Sam then passes. Following the trend, Eric brings in his commander in his main phase, who enters and triggers the Wayward Servant, draining his opponents for 1 and gaining him 1. Moving to combat, the Executioner goes at Sam, while the 2 mummy-looking things go at Aiden. Eric resolves the Varina trigger first, drawing 3, and then discarding 3, before gaining 3 life. Sam blocks with the Swan, while Aiden takes the hit. Eric then casts a Crypt Breaker, draining his opponents again for 1, and then plays an Orzhov Basilica, bouncing a land back to his hand as it enters. Aiden casts Coiling Oracle, drawing a card from Chulane and getting to put out an exotic orchard. The Oracle then enters, revealing Sterling Grove, which Aiden draws. Aiden then casts the Sterling Grove and recasts his Devoted Druid. He draws, then plays it a forest thanks to Chulane's on-cast trigger. Aiden then taps the Arbor to sacrifice the Grove and goes to find Food Chain, putting it on top. He passes, and at the end of turn, Matt casts Swords to Plowshares on Chulane. There's a cast trigger from Noyan Dar, and Matt puts the counters onto his Darksteel Citadel. Responding to the removal, Aiden activates Chulane and bounces the Oracle back to his hand. His commander is then exiled, and he gains some life. Matt taps 3 for Frantic Search in his main phase, adding another 3+1/+1 counters to the Darksteel Citadel from Noyan Dar. He then draws 2, discards 2, and untaps 3 lands. Matt then pays 4 for Drawn from the Dreams, resolving his Noyan Dar trigger again by putting the counters once more onto the Citadel. We then see him play out Cascading Cataracts, and he then casts Soul Guide Lantern, which is a card I'm very excited to test out. As it enters, he exiles the Sterling Grove from Aiden's yard. Matt then taps the Giver to give the Citadel protection from green, and smashes into Aiden. Matt then passes. Sam plays a Verdant Catacomb, which triggers his Field of the Dead, granting him a zombie token. He recasts the Oracle from his yard thanks to Muldrotha, and with the Oracle on the stack, Matt activates his Lantern to exile all of his opponent's yards. Sam then reveals his top card, showing the Gitrog monster. Sam then loses 1 as he sacrifices the Verdant Catacombs, and goes to find a Watery Grave, taking 2 more so it comes in untapped. He gains another zombie token, and after a good shuffle, still flips the Gitrog monster. Sam then plays up Verdant Catacombs from the yard, and gains another zombie token, and passes. Eric draws and heads to combat. With the daunting Food Chain sitting on top of Aiden's library, and the strong possibility of a combo incoming, Eric has no choice but to swing his zombie army at his friend. Eric gets to draw 5 and discard 5, and then gain 5 from Varina's trigger. Aiden blocks the Executioner and Varina, but still drops to 8 life. In his second main phase, Eric then casts Wrath of God to wipe away most of the board. But responding to the spell, Matt taps his Mother of Ruins to give the Citadel protection from white. This isn't to save it from the board wipe so much as spot removal that may follow. Eric then plays a tap Path of Ancestry and passes turn. Aiden draws his Food Chain and casts his Coiling Oracle. He then plays it as a Soul Ring and then Intruder Alarm, proving Eric to be right to be afraid. Aiden then casts Food Chain, and Sam responds to it by cracking his Catacombs and losing 1. He finds a forest and gains a zombie token from his Field of the Dead. Aiden then exiles the Coiling Oracle, making some blue mana, and puts to stack a Miss Hollow Griffin. With the spell in the stack, Matt casts Heliod's Intervention where X is 1, and destroys the food chain. The Mist Hall then comes in, and because of the intruder alarm, untaps Matt's Darksteel Citadel. Aiden then passes. Matt counts up his mana and recasts his commander. He casts Slip Through Space, targeting his Darksteel Citadel so that it can't be blocked this turn, and also gives it 3 more +1/+1 counters thanks to Noyan Dar's trigger. He also draws a card from the spell Resolving. Moving to combat, the Darksteel Citadel then takes out the threat that is Aiden. Sam draws and plays his own Soul Ring. He recasts Muldrotha and then plays a Verdant Catacomb again, gaining another zombie token. He cracks it, losing 1 more life to find a swamp and gains another zombie token. Sam then plays his own Rhystic Study. Eric draws and pays 6 for Varina. He scries 1 because of the path and bottoms it. With the scry resolving and the commander still in the stack, Matt uses Force of Will by losing 1 life and exiling a blue card from his hand to counter the zombie commander. Sam gets a draw from this from the Rhystic Study trigger. Eric then plays Terramorphic Expanse and sacrifices it to find a basic before passing turn. Matt draws for turn, unearthing his Ketterkirk Leviathan and returning all non-land permanents back to their owner's hands. This leaves his Darksteel Citadel unopposed, and Matt then uses Preordain. He bottoms both and draws a card. Moving to combat, he hits Sam for 20 with his 2 creatures. Matt then passes, exiling a Leviathan. Sam recasts his Soul Ring and then his Muldrotha. He plays Oracle from his yard and then a Verdant Catacombs. He also plays a Glacial Chasm and sacrifices another land and gains a zombie token as it enters. Eric draws and plays a Swamp. He pays all of his mana to recast his commander, scrying 1 and keeping it there, and then passing. Matt draws and replays his Soul Ring. He plays Sun Titan, bringing back the Soul Guide Lantern as it enters, and then exiles the Risen Executioner from Eric's yard. Sam's upkeep has him lose 2 life to the Glacial Chasm, and he draws, revealing a Swamp. He plays the Swamp, forgetting to get a zombie, and casts Vraska, Relic Seeker. He downticks the Pirate Gorgon to try and destroy the Lantern, but Matt sacrifices it for 1 to exile all of his opponent's yards again. Sam then casts Eldest Reborn, and this has Matt responding by flashing in Snapcaster Mage. The saga then resolves, and Eric and Matt sacrifice a creature. Sam then loses another 1 to his Catacombs to find a forest and gains a zombie token. He passes turn. Eric draws and casts a Thought Vessel, and then his Dimir Signet. He then casts Endless Ranks of the Dead and passes. Matt draws and casts Ponder. Matt then delves away a chunk of his yard to cast Treasure Cruise and draws 3 more cards. Moving to combat, the Sun Titan heads at Eric, returning the Lantern, and deals 6 to Eric. Sam lets his Chasm go to the yard, and Matt activates his Lantern to exile all of his opponent's graveyards. Eric then uses this as a prompt to use Path to Exile in the Darksteel Citadel, but it gets countered with an Unwind. Sam then draws, and downticks his Saga, forcing his opponents to discard a card, which at this point is only Matt since Eric has no hand. Sam then plays a Llanowar Wastes, making a zombie, and then downticks Vraska again to destroy the Sun Titan. It resolves this time, and Sam gains a treasure. Sam then casts Vraska again from his yard, and downticks her again to destroy his own Saga. Sam then casts the Eldest Reborn from his yard once more, but Matt disallows it. Moving to combat, Sam swings all of his zombies at Matt. There's a bit of a flub at this point which they catch later on, but technically Sam could only swing with 3 of them. Matt blocks 1 of them, and 2 of them connect, dealing 4. Sam then recasts his Rhystic Study and passes turn. Eric draws and casts Rooftop Storm in his main phase, and then casts Varina, paying the 1 for the study trigger. He then passes to Matt. Matt plays Recruiter of the Guard in his main phase and lets Sam draw. He goes and finds a creature card, putting Spellseeker to his hand, and casting that, going to find an instant or a sorcery. He grabs an Artful Dodge and puts it to hand. Sam then casts the dodge, and Sam draws, but it doesn't matter much as Matt smashes in with his Citadel. This takes Sam out, and Matt then casts Serum Visions, drawing and scrying 2, and then passing. Eric draws for turn and heads to combat. He swings Varina at Matt, drawing a card and discarding a Whip of Erebos and gaining 1 life. Matt decides not to block and takes the 4 commander damage, and Eric then passes. Matt draws and casts Mystical Tutor. He finds Crusher Tentacles, putting to his top. Matt then casts Brainstorm, drawing 3 and putting 2 back. He plays his Snow-Covered Plains, and then casts his Crusher Tentacles. Eric responds to this by casting Insidious Will and counters it. We then move to combat, with Matt hitting Eric for 16. Matt then passes, and at the end of turn, Eric activates Varina's second ability to exile 2 cards from his yard and make a zombie token. On Eric's upkeep, he gains a zombie token thanks to Endless Ranks of the Dead, and then draws. He goes to combat, swinging Varina and a token at Matt, drawing 2, discarding 2, and gaining 2. Matt blocks with the Recruiter and takes 2 from the unblocked zombie token. Matt casts Impulse in his main phase and looks at his top 4, keeping 1 of them. We then see Noyan Dar come back, and Eric responds by casting Ojutai's Command, attempting to bounce the Darksteel Citadel and counter the spell. Matt has an answer to this with Mana Drain. Heading to combat, Matt goes with the Darksteel Citadel again, and this time Eric takes the hit, and Matt then passes. At the end of turn, Eric exiles 2 more cards to make a zombie token. Eric's upkeep sees 2 zombie tokens entering from the Endless Ranks of the Dead, and he goes to combat. He swings his team at Matt, drawing 4 and discarding 4, and gaining 4. Matt blocks a token with Noyan Dar, and Varina with a Spellseeker. Matt then takes 4. Moving to his second main phase, Eric puts to stack Return to Dust, exiling until this very moment the nearly unstoppable Darksteel Citadel. He then passes turn. Matt draws, and gains his Colorless from his Mana Drain in his main phase. He flashes back Artful Dodge to give his commander unblockable, and gets to put 3+1/+1 counters onto his Cascading Cataracts. He doesn't swing though, and at the end of turn, Eric activates his commander's second ability 3 times, exiling 2 cards per activation to make 3 more zombies. Eric gains another 3 zombies on his upkeep from the Endless Ranks, and draws. He goes to combat, swinging everything that can be swung at Matt. Matt does some quick math, and knowing what he has in his hand, realizes he's done for, and concedes the game to Eric. Game review time. So, this was easily the best Noyan Dar deck that I've ever seen played, so big thanks to Matt. He had actually revealed after the game that when he used his Expedition map, he was tempted to get the Inkmoth Nexus, as it's a fast way to close out games with his deck. Unfortunately, with all the land hate that Sam had been playing, it wasn't the best idea. Sam's Muldrotha deck seemed very standard, lots of permanents that he was able to recur from his graveyard and abuse. I liked his line using Vraska and down-taking her to get a treasure and blow up his own saga, and then recast the saga for extra value. Speaking of value, I think Aiden went from 0 to 100 very quickly trying to assemble his combo. He had the Mist Hollow Griffin in his hand since very early on, and he was only missing Food Chain, which was easily found thanks to the Sterling Grove. Unfortunately, when you're running a combo like that, all of a sudden you become the arch enemy, and as we saw, he got taken out very quickly. If you had asked me mid-game if I thought Eric would have won, I would have said no. It seemed like Matt had a commanding presence on the board, but I really underestimated that Endless Ranks of the Dead and Varina's activated ability. Because of those two, Matt was able to assemble a massive zombie army and fight back for a sweet win. Please be sure to tune in every Monday and Thursday at 11 AM Eastern Standard Time for a guaranteed new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at MTGMudsta. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/mtgmudsta. And lastly, you can check me out when I stream at twitch.tv/mtgmudsta. This video is brought to you in support by my patrons. If you're looking for a way to help out the channel, please be sure to visit the link below. Thank you all for watching this video, and don't forget, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.